Welcome back to the channel. How are you all doing today? This video will be focused more on some key features I believe need to be added to the game moving towards the eventual release of Phase 3 of the Conquest of Azeroth Alpha. I've spent a substantial amount of time in the alpha. I currently have 10 of the 21 classes at level 30 and feel that Phase 3 would benefit greatly from adding some of the things I will cover in this video. Before going over the specific points, a general feature I would like to see added to the alpha would be more beginner-oriented in-game help and gameplay tips, more specifically aimed at the UI of Project Ascension being carried over into Conquest of Azeroth. I know that it's there just because the devs are using the framework of Project Ascension and just bolting Conquest of Azeroth on top of that for us to test the features of the alpha, but personally I've probably seen over 1,000 players asking, which main stat do I use, and why can't we use our talent points? If there was just a very big, bold message explaining this to you upon logging in, I think a lot of the confusion would be cleared up. Starting off with the biggest and probably most important feature that needs to be added. Feature number 1, max level training dummies. If anything makes it into the alpha from this video, please choose this one. So for Phase 3, these dummies would be level 40. Phase 4, they would be level 50, and so on. Phase 3 will be the first phase where we, as the players, finally get to unlock our talent books. With these things being accessible, tens of thousands of different build options open up overnight, and we need something like this to properly test these new skills and abilities. The biggest problem right now in Phase 2 is that balance changes are being made around PvP at level 30 because we don't really have a proper way of checking what is truly overpowered or undertuned. Balance changes that affect base skill balancing need to be tested outside of a PvP environment, considering PvP is extremely subjective and has an uncountable amount of variables one has to factor in when looking to make balance changes. A training dummy allows for a more controllable testing environment where skills and abilities can be objectively analyzed for further balancing. Then, if these abilities require PvP tuning, this can be done after the base mechanics of the skills are functioning properly. Nothing would hamper the game's health more than changing skills and abilities base values around a PvP setting and expecting those changes to also work just as well in a PvE environment. Please do not fall into the trap of tuning non-PvP content around PvP. Feature number 2, viewable talent trees. The Hero Architect 2.0 was just introduced into Project Ascension, allowing players to more easily access high-level builds for all types of gameplay styles. My hope is that the devs working on Conquest of Azeroth eventually remove the in-game screen that Project Ascension currently has to access talents, enchants, vanity, and other features. They have a rare opportunity to come up with a brand new system and further differentiate this game from Project Ascension for those players who truly want this to be a wholly unique experience, and I am definitely one of those players. The way I propose having this feature added is that when you inspect a player and click the Talents tab, it will bring up a miniature full view of all 3 talent books. It could then highlight the abilities chosen and darken the abilities not chosen. This would be a very simple, low-impact way for players to do their own research and find out what decision other players have made that could suit their playstyle. The sense of exploration and apprehension of trying to figure out why this super geared guy took certain talents and trying to figure it out for yourself is something I truly miss about my days playing retail vanilla WoW, and would love to see that make a return here in Conquest of Azeroth. Feature number 3, the return of world events. This one I'm talking directly to Dutch here. Remember when we talked about how we both love that shit? Bring it back in Conquest of Azeroth. The name of the game is Conquest of Azeroth after all. You can make a system where in-game factions take over territories and you have to go there and fight them back and reclaim that territory. Or you could have the elemental lords fighting each other and you have to go choose a side, then you receive wards based on your decision. You could incorporate PvP into these events as well, maybe have a mercenary system where you choose to help the monsters and villains and then fight against other players, but also have it so non-PvP focused players could participate in these events without fear of being killed by other players. World events back in the vanilla days of Project Ascension were one of, if not my favorite things to do. It forced me to go to different zones of the world, making the open world content relevant for the entirety of the game. These world events could evolve as more content is released, giving players another avenue for endgame progression outside the normal raids and arenas. Feature number 4, reforging. I'm not sure if I'm alone on this one, but reforging was my favorite feature of the Cataclysm expansion. This system added another level of gameplay, making getting new pieces of gear even more exciting than it already was. I would spend hours just staring at my gear, speculating on all the possibilities I had available to me each week I would step foot into my raids. Maybe if I get this piece of gear, I could reforge this stat to reach a certain breakpoint I was missing, or taking pieces of gear that weren't directly meant for my class and reforging stats on it to make it good for a niche scenario I might find myself in. I'm not sure how well this would work with vanilla gear, considering our stat pool is more limited since we don't have access to all the new stats they added throughout other expansions. But if they were to also add a Mythic Plus system to the dungeons here in Conquest of Azeroth, I could see this being an extremely engaging mechanic for players who want to truly customize their characters exactly how they want them. Having more options to make the game play for you is never a bad thing in my opinion. Feature number 5, in-game tutorials. With 21 brand new, fully custom classes, it's not hard to believe many players will not be able to fully understand everything that each class has to offer. The finer details of how abilities scale, which stats to prioritize, and spell rotations are often too much for newer players to grasp. Not many games set aside resources to properly explain how each class works, and Conquest of Azeroth should be one to consider something like this for their game. I propose a system similar to how League of Legends does it with their champions, a small 7 to 10 second video of in-game footage showing how each skill works. This obviously would be an insane amount of work to do for every single ability, but each class is going to have a fixed leveling kit until level 30, and doing it just for those abilities I think would benefit the new player experience greatly. Knowing how basic class scaling and core functions play into each other will help eliminate some of the worry newer players experience when logging in. Content creators could also play a part in providing these in-game tutorials, whether that is the basic how-to or the high-end advanced class mechanics. Having a help menu accessible in-game that could link players to outside resources would help bridge the gap between the new players and the seasoned veterans. Let me know what you guys think about this video. Do you agree or disagree with some of these features? How would you do things differently if you could? Let me know down below in the comments section. And with that, this video is done. Subscribe below for more content if you haven't already. I will see you in the next video.